one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
This is Discover Crypto. I'm your host, DZ, and every day on this channel, we teach you how to make money with crypto and digital assets. And today we're talking about Ethereum potentially doing a 10x, according to Vitalik. Also, we have BlackRock. Are they dumping Bitcoin and buying Ethereum? What's that chart going to tell us? And also, we got some major alt news. We got news for Cardano, insane news for Cardano. We also have some news for AI token out there. We're going to get into that. And of course, we got a politician who got caught trading Bitcoin illegally. And we're going to talk about that as well. But Josh, TJ, how are you doing today?
Is it really illegal if you're a politician?
You know, you just get your husband to do it, like Paul, or your wife, I guess. And if you're wondering why is DC wearing sunglasses, the desert air, I scratched my cornea. I've had all types of issues. I had to go to the dentist yesterday, emergency situation there. My eyeball, I cannot see. So I'm coming to you live from the Matrix. And yes, I was the guy that turned on Neo for a T-bone steak.
DZ's dying. That's the conclusion I've came to. Is teeth are falling out, eyes are bleeding.
You say it like that.
Yeah, we got some bull market activities going on here. But yeah, lots to break down today. Market's looking good, DZ. How are we looking on Bitcoin today? Are we at 106K yet?
You know what? Let's go straight to the 1 minute chart because Bitcoin is looking nuts from this morning. It's did like nice little pump this morning. It looks like it happened a little earlier. Sometimes it happens at 10:30. Sometimes it happens at 10 a.m. on the dot. Looks like it happened right at 10:15. And we also had a 9:30 bounce as well. If we zoom out to the 1 hour, you can see Bitcoin, you know, didn't quite follow my prediction. I was expecting a little bit of a pullback. I was expecting a lower low. We did not get a lower low. I don't know if we're out of the woods just yet, though, on the 4 hour chart there. If we go back to the 1 hour, you can see Bitcoin starting to get some nice momentum and starting to print some pretty juicy green candles here, Josh.
We like juicy green candles here. 106, 104 here. And we'll pull up some liquidation charts here later in the stream. But yeah, I mean,
Wait, was I showing the wrong screen that whole time?
What's that?
Was I showing the wrong screen?
No, that was mine. That was mine. Bitcoin.
Okay.
Yeah, you see my arrows there. We're still waiting for the prediction there. Now, looking at the rest of the market, we got ETH with a nice little pump here. It is up 4.2%. Solana. I know the Solana Moon Boys are in the chat. Steve-O, I see you. Solana's up 5%. And we got Cardano with a little bit of a gain here, 2.8. We keep scrolling. SWI looking kind of flat. It is only up 1%. But Uniswap really taking oh, wait a minute. Uniswap is now falling out. And MakerDAO is now swinging to the upside. Might have to look into that. We have WIF pumping, we have Hype pumping, and we have SPX pumping. So we're seeing a lot of meme coins, especially meme coins on Solana, doing pretty good right now. I haven't checked on Fart, though. Fart's always an outlier.
You're not 50xing the Fart this morning?
I should have. Let's see here. I'm trying to get into it.
Right up like massive.
Oh, my gosh. I can't even see. There we go.
He's just clicking sponsored ads nonstop.
I'm looking. I'm trying. Fart with the 7% pump
7%.
today.
7%. Yeah, that would have been a 250% gain there if DZ was able to wake up and see this morning. But unfortunately, it is holding him back. What else is moving today, though? We got some big hitters here. The top, I would say, Rod. What do you got?
To the downside, we got Monero taking a little bit of a peel back. Tau and Flare also with some down news. But we do have XRP news that might get that Flare community excited.
Yeah, which is we're going to be talking very positively. I heard today we had to do a little prep conference or prep meeting this morning just to get everybody excited in the office for XRP and its price move.
Yeah, we had to recite some incantations and do some bloodletting.
Yes.
Yeah. Brad sent us a script to rehearse, so we're ready now.
So we're ready to break that down. But what's our first news article of the day here?
Well, you know, first thing, I just want to take a step back, talk about Bitcoin here. One day you're going to look up and Bitcoin is going to be $300,000 and you'll say, how did it get here? Why did I miss this? Why did I buy so little? You do not want to be on the sidelines. Why? Because a lot of people are saying the signs are out there that the bull market is back. And I'm starting to feel kind of bullish myself here, folks. And I can't help it, but altcoins are feeling a lot of the bullish attention right now with BlackRock selling over 1,000 Bitcoin and buying almost 20,000 Ethereum. We're going to look at some of the charts here. The ETH spot ETFs see 10 consecutive days of positive inflows at this point. So between the 16th and the 30th, ETFs haven't had a negative day, and the total inflows exceeded 550 million. Last time we had 10 days of positive inflows, ETH was trading nearly $4,000, and BlackRock's ETF saw 430 million in outflows for Bitcoin, while their ETH ETF had 70 million in inflows. So we're starting to see a little bit of divergence when it comes to Wall Street's appetite. Josh, do you feel like the ETH Bitcoin trading pair is about to start turning around here? I'm about to pull it up here.
It's going to be an interesting summer here. I think we had the Aave founder on yesterday, and I agree with a lot of his conversation around needing the feds to really cut interest rates, needing the tariff conversations. What I like to say, I do like this, Steve. I'll tell you one thing, is I clicked on the news today. Okay, if you go to your news again today, you go to business. Let me say this pops up. Of course it does. Again, it is all fear mongering. Donald Trump's tariffs will hurt global growth. Donald Trump's tariffs will hurt global growth. Donald Trump's expected to drag down the global economy. And the markets are pumping off this today. So, maybe we are starting to see a little bit more market certainty. But in last night's video, I asked you guys, I was like, do you expect certainty from this administration in the next 2 weeks? And in that video, I said, I really have almost no faith in that. I think that's, between the off and on tariff outlooks, between postponing and not postponing, between saying, hey, you need to be at the table by Wednesday with proposals. Is that going to get extended? Who knows? And so that can cause some volatility. But I am anticipating that altcoins do start performing better. I just think Bitcoin's going to go alongside it. I think Bitcoin dominance is going to remain a little bit higher still until we get that true pivot here in the market and retail starts seeing money. So right now it looks like Ethereum is following Bitcoin. Because look at that Bitcoin dominance. That Bitcoin dominance breaking out here, Bitcoin leading the race. And the point of last night's video, actually, you should go check it out. I don't want to give the juice there, but it's really, if you want to de-risk your portfolio, a lot of we were buying under 80K. We were like screaming, buy a lot of these altcoins. And so I'm heavily positioned on Bitcoin. And in that video, it kind of explains it. It breaks down the Bitcoin dominance. It breaks down the historical metrics of how Bitcoin reacts in the summer. And it's just literally going over data. It's going over what happened last June, the June before that, the June before that, and the June before that, and what we expect moving forward into Q3 this year. So,
I got the video pulled up here. BlackRock just signaled a Bitcoin boom, massive demand surge. Josh, what is on Larry Fink's mind right there?
He saw the returns on Bitcoin and got a little shock in his pantalones there. But no, ultimately, I do need to give a warning, guys. In the beginning of the video, I did misspeak. I said institutions are selling. I meant buying, so I did say that. But other than that, it's a fantastic video.
It was opposite day.
It's opposite day because I literally talk about how institutions are buying. So.
I did want to chime in real quick. You mentioned the rate cuts, and this is something we were talking about here in the office yesterday. And one thing I appreciated about what Stani mentioned is here in the U.S., and we have a little bit of American syndrome, I guess you'd call it, where we think everything is about us and our stuff and revolves around us. And in a lot of ways, global, when it comes to financial economy, it does. A lot of things revolve around the dollar and what our central bank, the Fed, does. That being said, there are other central banks out there that are very powerful and do impact the economy. And I thought it was interesting. We're very much Fed. What's the Fed going to do? And he mentioned rate cuts, but he didn't mention the Fed. He mentioned ECB. And he was talking about Europe interest rate cuts coming. And I was curious. They have that coming up on this Thursday. And we've got this article here that shows right now, basically the governing council, they're going to meet on June 5th in Frankfurt, which is Thursday, right? Today's Tuesday. Yeah, June 5th. And there's a 97.5% possibility that they're pricing in cuts and, lowering the borrowing cost to 2%. So their interest rates are already significantly lower than ours. We've been talking about this a while. That's part of why Trump keeps coming out and saying he wants our Fed to, or the U.S., the central bank here near the U.S. to cut. Good morning, Granny's Garden. I see you there in the chat. But
that's a good point. I actually pulled it up. It's a lot closer than I thought. I thought the Fed was significantly larger than the ECB, maybe 2x or so. way off here. The Fed Reserve, $8.7 trillion as far as assets. So this is America. America comes in at 8.7. Eurozone comes in at 8.2 there. So really just knocking on the door as far as parity. And then People's Bank of China coming in at 5.5 trillion. Bank of Japan, no slouch here, 5 trillion right there. So
interesting.
Very close parity as far as size.
Similar numbers, but not the same. But quoting similar dates. If you look at this, I mean, this is showing 7.7 from the Fed, 6.4 from People's Bank of China, 5.3 from Bank of Japan. But either way, all of People's Bank of China has already been cutting. We've seen that. Japan is starting to cut. Now the ECB is starting to cut, and eventually the Fed will cut as well. We just want to be the last ones to do it, and that's what they're holding out for. So when it comes to Ethereum pumping, seeing the global rates around the world getting cut right now, I do think that bodes well for Ethereum, which will lead many other altcoins. I do expect now a lot of people are pricing in a potential cut in the US in September, which would be perfectly in line with, the top of the, blow off top alt season, seeing very, very significant gains in, say, September, October of this year, which would be right in line with the 4-year cycle. So I still believe summer is going to be strong, and we've got a lot of bullish activity ahead. Really believe the end of this year we will be making life-changing money. We posted a chart this morning on the X account for the US debt, and that's not slowing down. That's only growing. The big, beautiful bill. They always run on fixing the government and balancing the budget and getting everything back in line. And then to get about 6 weeks into it and realize, wait a minute, we can't do that. Actually, let's just raise the debt ceiling and print more money. And it looks like that cycle is going to continue. So all that bodes well for your Bitcoin and your altcoins.
Yeah, no, speaking of Bitcoin and altcoins, this is the ETH Bitcoin trading pair on the daily. And you can see, Bitcoin starting to lose a little bit of power to Ethereum. It looks like it maybe did find a bottom right around April. The tariff war is kind of hitting its zenith at that point. But you look at the weekly, starting to look cleaner and cleaner as far as the bounce goes. We're starting to get consecutive green candles. And when ETH starts to gain against Bitcoin, it can happen fast and can happen very, very suddenly. But when your alts lose against Bitcoin, it could be a slow and steady march all the way to Poorville. So you got to be careful. But speaking of ETH also has some gold fractals, making it look very bullish here. The gold fractals boost ETH's price potential to hit $6,000. We're also going to pull up the ETH gold pair here. So gold has a 5-point breakout structure. It's making a strong case for ETH to replicate it here. ETH is also repeating a 2016 fractal and could rally to 5 to 6K if the pattern holds. So the gold fractal, it's a multi-year fractal making a strong case for Ethereum price rally towards 6K. So gold, you can see here, it's basically your basic 5-point structure. You kind of hit a nice little range, and then you hit a breakout after you hit 5. So ETH, similar structure here. We're just waiting for the parabolic moment for the nice gains. And so side-by-side comparison shows ETH mirroring gold's multi-year accumulation structure from 2019 to 2024. The rally could be easy this cycle because we also have another bullish case here. The pattern in focus is looking at 4 distinct stages. Multi-month consolidation range, sharp shakeout that traps the late bulls, a breakout above resistance, and finally, we get the parabola. We get that nice parabolic rally. Everybody, do we get a parabolic rally for ETH this year? My prediction, it's a big thumbs up, Josh.
What's your parabolic rally look like?
Ooh, I like the 5-6K range. I like the 5-6.
Oh, wow.
I was
Parabolic.
10K all day, every day. I think we really need to get an extended cycle, Q1, Q2, 2026 for us to see a 10K ETH. But ETH can hit 10K a lot more easily than people suspect.
Do you think we're going to hit 10K by March of next year?
Well, I have a little price chart. Let's just see what this ends up running up to. This is just a regular chart here, just kind of looking at the 2017, 2018 top, kind of run along with the 2021 tops. And if we were to say Q1 2026, let's see, this is
one chat. While he's doing this, let us know where your
9K.
Let us know what your ETH prediction is. A lot of people in the chat saying that's parabolic. So let us know. Let us know what you think.
It'll feel parabolic, and your wallet will feel
because TJ, you believe that this summer is going to be a pretty strong summer. So do you think that? I mean, by strong rally this summer, do you mean we're going to be moving like a 2x from here or up to 130, 140K? Because if that's the case, when are you looking at a potential peak in this market then? Because to me, if we pump this summer, based off the model last night and last night's video, it would mean we've we've pretty much broken the 4-year cycle.
How so?
Just in terms of price performance, but like we're early.
No, yeah, we'd be no, I don't think so. I mean, realistically, we should be topping out, and I'm not saying top this summer. I think we have a very strong summer and leading into a top September. That's kind of what I was leading to. Altcoins seeing like a September, October, November blow off top. If we get cuts in September, that 4-year cycle should top out around October of this year. That's usually Bitcoin and alts can run a little bit long. Maybe you would say September. I don't know the exact date, but September, October, that would be the traditional 4-year cycle. And if alts run a little bit longer than that, say run into November, that would be about right. I am in the camp that I think we do see an extension. Depending on what happens over these next few months, I do think we'll see an extension into 2026 based on ETFs, based on these buying commitments from all these treasury companies and all that sort of stuff. But my prediction would be like if we've got what Ethereum sitting, 2,800, 2,600 right now, right? Yep. Yeah. So I could see it getting to 5K really, really fast. I do think we go past 6. My number's more in that 8K, maybe 10K range.
And that's this year.
And I think we hit 8K towards the end of this year, and then I would say the extended, if we, 10K might be Q1 of 2026.
What does gold look like? Because a lot of this is going to be from banks starting to show a little weakness, a lot of money printing. Do you have any gold predictions?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't, just because I don't continue to track it enough. I don't I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head. What's it like?
I think it's going to go to 4K.
Yeah, this is the weekly chart here.
I mean, as long as we keep printing, you're like, if you overlay it to, again, the M2 money supply, it just, as the market continues to expand and we know money's going to keep printing, I don't see gold slowing down. I will tell you though, I mean, as we approach like 4K, like I got lucky when I bought gold and a couple watches at like at $1,600 an ounce. Everything's
period?
up massive.
What time?
What's that?
Like when was this?
Bottom 2022.
Okay.
2021.
Nice.
It was 2022.
Yeah, looking at the chart right here, I kind of had the similar thought. I bought that Cuban link little bracelet. I did that in November. I actually have ETH gold chart right here. This is ETH price in ounces of gold. So at one point, we kind of maybe sold a little bit of a top. I ended up trading some ETH for gold right around November, December 2021. You could get 2.5 ounces of gold for every one Ethereum, one every Ether. It bottomed out recently here where you can only get half an ounce of gold. And right now we're currently trading around 0.8. Now, Vitalik, some say, his latest upload, maybe he's selling ETH for gold. Dude. Chad, I don't know, Chad. What do
your Chat GPT history is whack.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much. When you have your own customizable robot, it is going to be a one weird guy.
That's the latest. Go back to that real quick if you still have it. Or did you kill it? Yeah, that's the newest. I'm in it for the technology. That meme.
I'm in it for the tech, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Can't put a smart contract on gold.
Real quick, while we're talking about the tech, I did see somebody complaining about the latest Ethereum upgrade and some of the new security attack vectors on it. It's being attacked pretty heavily, but not necessarily successfully. I do want to mention, a network being attacked is part of the, that's kind of that happens all the time. Bitcoin's constantly being attacked, and that's part of the resilience. That's how it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. There's basically been a multi-billion, at this point, $1 trillion honeypot if anybody could crack it. So there's a huge incentive to try. So that's been happening on Bitcoin forever. Ethereum's been attacked for a long time too. Any of these systems are constantly being attacked, and they're open, they're public. That's what happens. You only really need to be worried if the attacks are successful and there's some kind of network issue, which Ethereum has not experienced. So I'm not really worried about the latest. There are some phishing and some type things that people are trying to do with keys and that sort of stuff, but for the most part, most regular users aren't affected. So not too worried.
And people bringing up the shades. Maui Gems is where the shades come from. Gold articles are way up. I'm not going to go too deep there. Articles mentioning gold crossed 100,000 for the first time since 22. We had some spikes around there. So maybe some whales wanted to take profit on it.
I saw the same thing. I wonder if I asked Grok, I guess it didn't reply. I wanted to see if it could pull the same numbers
for Bitcoin.
Yeah, but I don't think it did. Is there a reply to that?
No, I looked and it was spam. So now I really don't want to click just in case.
All right.
We do have extra Bitcoin news here. Metaplanet. Look at what happened here. Metaplanet closed yesterday, trading as Japan's #1 most liquid stock by value traded. way above the number 2 competitor, Mitsubishi. And so we're seeing insane amount of volume. Everybody's wanting to get out of the Japanese yen and, maybe get some exposure to Bitcoin via Metaplanet. So I think a lot of their 401k equivalents in Japan, I think a lot of retiree accounts, I think a lot of older people with just some cash on the sidelines. They see what's going on. They see the writing on the wall, and they know the Bank of Japan is not in a good place. Bitcoin is that lifeboat here. But speaking of lifeboats, I think James Wynn needs a lifeboat. Did you see his latest allegation that he's being hunted?
No.
Yeah, being hunted. Not like Mr. T. No. Ice-T was hunted in a movie.
So the guy that's posting his liquidation publicly on X is saying people are hunting my liquidation.
Yeah, the guy with the public address, public liquidation.
Me,
I'm curious how much he is up right. You said James Wynn, right?
Yeah.
I'm curious how much he's up because he was like
$20. I don't think he hit his liquidation. While you look that up, I'll run through this. So his second $100 million Bitcoin bet, they're hunting me, he says, everybody. And so James Wynn opened a second leveraged Bitcoin trade for $100 million just days after being liquidated from a similar trade. The position said to be liquidated if Bitcoin hits 103,630 and is showing an unrealized loss at the time, about $500,000. Comes less than a week after his other position was liquidated on the 30th when it dipped below a 10-day low of 105. Following the news of a second bet, he alleged that his liquidation level is being deliberately targeted by major market participants. They're coming for me again, he said in a June 2nd post, adding, "Don't let these evil bastards liquidate me. Don't let the evil bastards win," he says. Some traders are now donating to his address to help him fund his leverage positions. What was he saying here? Basically, just donate to me. Why are they so desperate to see me lose?
If I win, we all win, or something.
Well, we got the first clue to why he was liquidated the first time, and if you could tell me what's wrong with this, chat, please let me know. But here's the TA of someone trading with $80 million. So yeah, higher here, and then he just posted this 11 minutes ago. I'll be the example of what making it all back looks like. This is where he currently is. So he was up roughly $90 million. And man, this thing flatlined like a pulse chain chart. It is it's down. So he's up a little bit. He's up actually still under zero. So he's still not back to zero. It looks like he's still probably roughly $10 million away from zero. So he's still in the negative pretty big. But we'll see. I mean, can James Wynn come back? This TA, I mean, look, this guy has got to be, he's a Fed. He's got to be a Fed. He's got to be a Fed or an insider from some plane or some chain that's promoting it. And also, interesting enough, comes out today, promotes Moonpig, starts shilling. So, TJ, I might be with your little, theory that we were talking about yesterday.
That's not me with a cigar, chat.
Might be. Yeah, it looks like, man, does this guy's eyes and teeth fall out too?
Yeah.
It's after a bad kickboxing match.
I think I'm starting to wonder. I think people are a little too over fascinated. I guess this is just anytime there's large numbers, people get interested. But it is very bizarre behavior. It's very much a degen how somebody would trade with $1,000, not $100 million. Makes me wonder if it's some kind of marketing effort by Hyperliquid, or if there's some sort of way they could be, if he's like you said, some type of insider with hype, and he's not necessarily a real person, and maybe this money isn't necessarily being lost. I don't know. Everybody tries to justify it or rationalize it, but man, Bitcoin moving right now in the moment. I mean, we're pumping.
Yeah, like who would be? You have to ask you that. Like, who would be able to lose $90 million and kind of not care? And there's only a few type of people that can do this. One, like CryptoFace. I think CryptoFace could lose 90 million, not care. He'd just make 90 million back the next day.
I don't know.
But if you're not a CryptoFace trader, not a goated trader,
I'd put it more in the like CZ type category.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was thinking
I'm thinking bigger. I'm thinking
Justin
bigger.
Sun, yeah.
Like, it has, or it's somebody that has open short positions, have a platform, have open short positions, and on the back end, they don't realize that, they're actually creating a narrative where they're either breaking even or making some money off of it by shorting the market. So it's one of those moments. Is this obviously not a? I don't know. I think there's more. Maybe I don't know. Maybe we're just in the matrix. Maybe James is just a degenerate.
You triggered the Hex guy in the chat that was watching. Checks my pulse. He says, "Don't sleep on Richard Hart. The only tokens with regulatory. Not true. Bitcoin has regulatory clarity. Ethereum has regulatory clarity. Actually, meme coins even have regulatory clarity at this point.
Next still doesn't have
We've
regulatory
shared
clarity.
James
Well,
Nguyen. Remember we doxed
it's no
James
longer
Nguyen
being
before.
sued. It's no longer being sued.
I thought we found who it was, right? Wasn't it this guy?
There's the guy.
Well,
That's the
if
way
you have
losing all
regulatory
his
clarity,
money.
why are you on the run and on Interpol's wanted list?
Yeah.
That's it.
He's on the hex. What if here's a fun theory. What if
James Nguyen is Richard Hart
or Ross Ulbricht? That'd be a fun one.
Oh,
that
crazy.
would be
just coming out like, I'm a DJ and I've been
That
on the
would be
sidelines
legit.
too long. I got to make up
He
time.
might be somebody that doesn't give a shit about $90 million because he might have secretly billions.
Yeah.
He might be Satoshi.
Found this wallet here with a couple thousand Bitcoin in it and decided to go long.
Well, that's a good segue to this. Silk Road founder received 300 Bitcoin donation from a questionable source. There's a lot of allegations on who this was. So according on is from Arkham Intelligence. The wallet received 300 Bitcoin over the weekend. It came from an unknown wallet before it was moved by Ross to a different wallet a day later. The 300 Bitcoin worth about $31 million. There it is, all on chain. Zach XBT was able to track it back to a suspicious centralized Bitcoin mixer service. It was called Jambler. And he also discovered it was likely the 300 Bitcoin originated from two old addresses. One was made back in 2014, while the other one was active back in 2019 by Ross's girlfriend, maybe, I don't know. And then they're saying, oh, wait a minute, this is where the real donation came from. Is it Ross paying himself? Allegations, rumors, we don't know. It's just a fun theory to speculate on.
100%. And I think he deserves every single dime. I think he deserves, honestly, he should get back what the government confiscated from him.
Well, they took that a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
that's
it's
our strategic reserve right now.
Yeah, shout out to Ross for giving us a strategic reserve.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That was just that's just a bummer of a situation. That's just what the government. That's why Bitcoin was built, man.
You know who's just out of the mirror? P. Diddy.
No.
P. Diddy. What are you oiling up?
Yeah, maybe that's how they paid for the freak offs. I don't know. Let's talk about Bitcoin here with Tether. Tether making a major move. They moved $4 billion in Bitcoin to 21 Capital here. That was Jack Mahler's company. Yeah. Now the third largest corporate Bitcoin holder, right after Strategy and Marathon Digital.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
I was just going to say one transaction, they moved $1 billion. The largest batch was moved a day earlier, 3 transactions totaling $2.7 billion. And it looks like they want to have like a lending, custody, and asset issuance to operate directly on Bitcoin rails. They're going to go public with the SPAC merger here. And it looks like we're seeing a little bit of divide on transparency when it comes to Bitcoin. So they're super open, publishing the addresses. Here's the transactions. But at Bitcoin conference, Michael Saylor said, well, proven on-chain proof of reserves, it's a bad idea that could pose security risk. So 21 saying, Saylor, you don't know what you're talking about. Everything is public over here.
Yeah, and I saw this coming. That was kind of my only thought. Like, I could hear him making that point. I understand why a lawyer would tell him to say that, or his security compliance officer. But then what happens when the next business comes out and does do it? And I understand, again, the main, there's all kinds of legal, like what if you got one thing wrong? What if something moves from this address and your proof of reserves doesn't update? And what time? How many? What verbiage do you do to give yourself some leniency so that way you don't get sued over something being not in the run thing in the wrong place? But I think 21 Capital coming out and doing this gives them an advantage, and I think the market will probably force compliance on this. If many of the Bitcoin treasury, if 7 out of the 10 Bitcoin treasury companies are doing proof of reserves and 3 aren't, I think people are going to have more confidence in the ones that are. And I do think it's a good move by 21 Capital. Obviously, Tether, Bitfinex, they're all aligned with 21 Capital. I think this was the initial pledge that was made when the company was created, that they were going to be starting with this number of close to $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. So not a surprise to see this transaction actually happening. But it's going to be very fascinating. This is the cycle of Bitcoin treasury companies. Like, in people asking, where's retail? Retail right now, it's just getting more sophisticated. Retail and crypto today isn't buying meme coins. That's children are. Retail investors today are buying Bitcoin treasury companies. And the retail the people that were buying Bitcoin in 2017, in 2020, 2021. They've all got a little bit of capital now. They've learned a little bit about some investments, and they're buying micro.
Except for Dave Portnoy. He bought Bitcoin in 2020, learned nothing, and continues to buy meme coins and lose money on it despite inside info.
True. Okay, so there is some
exception that makes the rule, though.
There is some retail representation in meme coins, but long story short, I think this cycle is going to be like we're covering later on. You know, some other coin, Ethereum's got their strategy type playbook. Ethereum treasury play. We've got a Solana treasury play. We're getting XRP treasury play, and we're starting to see that more and more public companies are now becoming the vehicles that are acquiring these things, and people can access those public companies with capital much faster. So it's going to be fascinating to watch all this play out, which is part of why I think this can continue to run into 2026, because we're going to see all this capital flow through the public sector into different different coins, mostly the top coins.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Tether article, though, because there is some viral posts on X here. Like, for example, Jake Akeem here, who's the CEO of Whale. Now, they're notoriously known for being bears, and I don't know if it's rage bait or anything. He actually follows me. I follow him. Because I like to just see what bears are talking about all the time. But he comes out to say Tether has mysteriously transferred 37,000 Bitcoin, valued at $4 billion to Jack Mallers' firm. It's becoming increasingly transparent. Organic demand for Bitcoin is non-existent, and Tether is going to be the lone buyer, propping up the illusion of market interest. This is so funny to me. This has to be rage bait to me, because this is very simple. Like, people that are mad at Tether, like, call Tether a Ponzi. Like, type 1 in chat if you think Tether is a Ponzi scheme. Because if you think Tether's a Ponzi scheme, that literally means you think the United States government is a Ponzi scheme, which is okay. I think at the Federal Reserve, there shouldn't be a bunch of white men in a room created in 1913 to print endless amount of capital. But Tether is one-to-one backed from the US dollar. So that's completely okay that you believe it is a Ponzi. That's why we built Bitcoin. The way Tether makes money, check this out. They had $13 billion in profits. $13 billion in profits. And if you guys know anything about compound interest, they only need to make 3 to 4% off their interest rates from their hundreds of billions
compound
of dollars.
Interest looks like a hockey stick when you go into decades.
And now they have so much money. The interest they make off holding U.S. treasuries alone will allow them to become the biggest. That is what is made. Well, I hate to say this, but Tether was genius. Tether said, well, hey, I see an issue with fractional banking. We're going to make fractional banking 2.0, and we're going to back it to the traditional system, so they're forced to do everything that we want in the future. That is the position Tether is put in. Tether is put in the position right now to essentially be the next Federal Reserve. And so when people want to ask, like, where does artificial money come from? Of course, it's fake if you want to claim that, but it is as fake as the US dollar. And so that it's a very interesting mechanic. I see a lot of people FUD Tether. They want Tether to crash. They want Tether to collapse. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's not an illusion. I mean, the value of the dollar is an illusion. It's not scarce. It is literally a giant country that is a massive loan shark that has the world's largest military saying, hey, our dollar is worth this value because we tell you, right? That's pretty much the whole concept. Cool, we got GDP and other things, but we are massively in debt. Like, if you look at the, I think TJ, did he post this today? The debt chart.
Yeah, I did.
Look at the debt chart. This is, yeah, you want to talk about a scam? Look at the United. This isn't Apple. This isn't Nvidia. This isn't a meme coin. This is the U.S. debt, and they're telling you that this is the most valuable currency on the planet. So
yeah, well, and look at how fat. I mean, that's basically, look at the last 20 years, right? Like, it's really
it's like in the last 5, it's doubled.
Yeah. Look at the debt clock. Look where we're at here, 36.93. We're getting closer and closer to 37 trillion.
And this is why people should be more bullish than ever, because what you got to ask yourself. Okay, if Tether's a Ponzi and it's a 1-to-1 to the largest Ponzi in the world, you ask yourself, what is Tether buying? What does Tether buy more and more of? Well, they're buying more treasuries, but it's Bitcoin. They continuously buy more Bitcoin. They do have a lot of gold. They're buying more Bitcoin miners, more AI startups, they're investing more and more to this ecosystem. So it's like, it's very bullish. Yeah, maybe that fundamentals itches you, and it is, but that's the way the world works. And it's really good for the industry. Really good.
Yeah, I wish I had it.
Unfortunately,
I thought I saved it somewhere. They did a presentation at the Bitcoin conference where they showed how much gold. I think that I want to say 50,000 tons of gold or something crazy.
Yeah, that's
like
what
that.
People are like fudding it. They're like, this is toxic. This isn't why I'm in crypto. And I'm like,
Nah, I mean it's a reality of a free market and people providing a service that's necessary. And like you said, now the US government is dependent on the success of USDT and USDC. Also, Circle, did you see they've absolutely blown their valuation out of the water. They're looking to go public, and BlackRock wants everybody wants in on Circle. And I think they've almost doubled where they're looking to IPO at compared to some of the offers that were getting floated before.
And some people saying like, are you trying to like sell us on top? I'm not, it's like, I've been saying this before. I came to discover crypto too. The phrase I've always used is crypto is nothing other than just Wall Street 2.0. And like, unfortunately, and this was always going to be the case. And the reason why we always knew this was going to be the case is just look at what retail did when the government gave them free money through stimulus checks. They didn't invest it. They spent it, which means institutions were always going to win this game. And when you start seeing that a lot of blockchain technology isn't a replacement to the fractional banking system, it's a solution to the fractional banking system. It was only a matter of time before you saw that adoption start to accrue. And this is why I've been predicting state-based stable coins for a long time. We were never going to see a CBDC. In the United States, we were never going to see a central bank digital currency. And it wasn't because of programmable money. It wasn't because it was authoritarian. It was simply because the largest lobbying group in the United States is pretty much the banking institutions with your lawyers. And they wanted to profit off all the on-ramps and off-ramps to stable coins. That was always going to be the case. So unfortunately, we're moving into that world. And that's why we're so bullish on tokenization. You've seen it on RWA.xyz. We've tracked it from a $10 million market to now $8 billion with just US treasuries. And I'm expecting that to go to $1 trillion one day. How long does that take? I don't know, but you want to be at the forefront of a lot of that movement.
We did have someone in the chat saying, can you make money longing and shorting at the same time? The quick answer is no. You're going to get hit with the fee as soon as you open a trade, and every 8 hours you get hit with the funding fee, and you get hit with the fee when you close a trade. Now, what people do is called schlonging. I'm not making that up. They short and long at the same time, and they wait for a breakout. So when it breaks out, you keep the profitable position open and you close the other one at a loss, and you hope that your breakout continues to break out to new all-time highs, new all-time lows. And then that's how you end up making money with that strategy there. Stay blessed. ETH meme, Jesus coin by Lee there. Good luck on that one. I did want to share, I'm closing this trade. I closed 90%. I just want to close them live on the stream, and we have an L Bank link down below. Close that one about 90%. I closed most of it.
I'm riding.
Were you just longing?
What was it? What did you have open?
It was ADA and SWE longs.
ADA and SWE. I'm riding an ETH long from this morning. I took a scalp yesterday. Just a little one right here. Got up like 8 or 9% right now, a little 12x. But like an ETH on the daily and on the short, a lot of levels on ETH. I rode it up to what was it, 2640 yesterday? I guess I closed it at, and then kind of came back down into that range and got back in again. So
all right.
People are looking for trades. I'd say, our liquidations, you can easily go to 2680, and then on Bitcoin even you can go to
2680
like
is actually where I'm looking.
107.6. Like, I'd be cautious if you're opening trade positions here in the middle of a.
Yeah, it looks like it's in the top of a trend line.
We're like in the middle of a move. Yeah, like either we break out from here, like, so it's just low leverage if you guys are being cautious on the short. I would say, what is this? Where are we at right now? This is the 106 on the 5 minutes. Let's go to the daily time frame. And by the way, here's the this is what the video was last night, me breaking down the time ranges on just the summer months of how Bitcoin's performance is. But yeah, we're still in an uptrend here, but I want to go to the MACD. Look at the MACD on the daily. Like, this does look like we got plenty of room to go back to all-time highs. I would not be shocked if we touch those soon.
Nice. All right. We got people asking about the Mind of Pepe. I believe that one was delayed a little bit. It was an AI play. I'll have to look into that. Let's see here. I don't see it yet on CoinGecko, so we'll check on that in a second. Just give me a little bit here. Now, we do have a story for you're talking about trading. Josh, who's the best traders in the world?
Like on YouTube?
No.
Oh, I was like, Crypto Face that I watch all the time. He's a god, man. Probably institutional, but I would argue also like the winter mutes, the market makers.
Yeah. Who has the best trading, let's just say, track record?
Oh, Warren Buffett.
Are you going for like a specific type of person?
Yeah. Y'all missing it. Y'all are missing it.
No, are you saying like somebody that's really good at math?
Who can beat Warren Buffett consistently?
A hedge fund.
Beats the hedge funds.
Chat, do you know this
AI.
answer? Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi.
And what's Pelosi?
Ah,
Yeah,
politicians.
Jack got it.
Politicians.
Yeah, Nancy Pelosi. Politicians. That's
Man,
right.
Chat beat me, dude.
Politicians
Chat
are the
beat
best
me.
traders.
I knew you were.
everybody.
Yeah, I knew you were setting something up. I just didn't know what it
I'm
was.
trying to segue
He's like,
us
damn,
into.
yeah, I mean, you're right, but no, not that. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, it is politicians.
It is
to be fair.
politicians.
I
It
thought
is
you were going
politicians.
for an Asian math joke here, and I was like, "What does he really want us to
Oh,
say
I-
that?" Like,
oh, TJ, geez. All right, let's see. No, this Texas representative trading Bitcoin as well as Pelosi. When you start looking at the details, it's Representative Gill, and he's under fire for his late, potentially up to $500,000 Bitcoin disclosures. He's a Texas Republican here. His name is Brandon Gill, and he had a late disclosure for his Bitcoin purchases, potentially violating federal law. So he's a first-term member. He's known for proposing the Donald Trump's face on the $100 bill. That's that guy. So he reported 2 Bitcoin purchases, each valued between $100K and $250,000. This was on January 29th and the 27th. Both trades disclose weeks past the 45-day deadline here. It looks like he did pretty good somewhat. One of the trades, Bitcoin was around 102,000. Then he also bought the dip. He was able to jump in at $85,000 respectively on those dates. In the disclosure, he also revealed 2 additional purchases from May, one for up to $250,000 and one for up to $100K. Both of these filed on time, but it did not stop the arresting officer going to his office, trying to make a little viral moment, and I think she got it, man.
Damn.
She's pissed.
oh, she got him.
She got him, man.
Fragile, man. I honestly,
thought they were
anybody that's
friends.
pissed on a politician trading Bitcoin at when it's the most bullish ever. Like, are you kidding me?
I do like that he bought the dip.
I
got
mean,
in
that's
at
what I'm saying.
85.
Like he didn't buy like at. It's not like he bought at 50K before. Like, I don't know. That's an interesting one. That's it. But you know, the dollar bill.
Elon's being investigated.
What do you think? The $100
that
bill is
real?
stupid. I think if you're gonna put your face on a bill, put it on whatever the next bill is gonna be, because we're gonna keep printing more money. So, would you do a $500 bill?
Yeah, that's what you
They
should
need
do.
to
is
bring it back.
propose
They're getting
something
rid of
new.
the penny.
We
You
used to
heard
have
about that?
Didn't we have a $1,000 bill?
I think we did, but I don't know if it's in circulation. But they're gonna need it. So
They're gonna need
it's
the
coming back.
$500.
They're gonna start making $10,000 bills at some point.
I mean, do you really want to be the president that's on the inflationary print of a new bill? Well, Trump would.
I don't see anything Elon being investigated. So not sure.
This is my favorite comment here so far.
This is
Mr.
old from
Technology says
2024.
those cuffs aren't for business. These. Ooh,
Those what?
dirty.
Those cuffs weren't for business. Yeah.
Officer
Uh-oh.
Pocahontas.
Is it a polycule, like freak off situation there?
Maybe, dude. I did not see any
I would
baby
not
oil
want to
in the
be a
room,
fly
though.
on the wall there.
Well, you know, speaking of flies on the wall, what are we hearing about the rumor mill with XRP?
All right. Now, this one's major news, everybody. So, $100 million XRP treasury deal just landed. It's called Vivo Power. They're going all in on XRP. They're using BitGo to handle the first $100 million buy. This isn't a hedge, full-blown XRP treasury strategy, the first of its kind on NASDAQ. Is this the start of an XRP corporate wave? So let's just start there. Is this the start of more dominoes falling with XRP specifically?
Look, I mean, all I could say is when you look at the XRP chart, like if you're a trader, does this not look really, really good? This to me looks really, really good.
Like it's about to hit some support.
It looks really, really well. I mean, it's been
We're
like
right at it.
that
Yeah.
200-day moving average. Like, type 1 in chat if you hold XRP. I want to know how many people hold XRP, because XRP, look, it looks good from a technical perspective. It looks good. Now, it doesn't look like $1,000 XRP good, but it does look like this thing wants to break out to the upside. And I mean, it's only a matter. Look how long it's been. This is probably the longest consolidation we've seen. Look at Ethereum, right? Well, Ethereum tanked and dropped. We're going back to February here. Go back to XRP. You're going back to February here. I mean, XRP has been consolidating for nearly, my God, 6 months in this range. So in terms of performance, like I'd have to give it to XRP here. I have to give it to XRP.
I'm going to do an XRP price
Pretty bullish.
prediction. So tonight, if you do hold some XRP, if you're just maybe on the sidelines, you don't know what XRP is going to be heading towards, turn on notifications. Expect that one coming out
Yo,
tonight.
TJ, you good back there? I know we're talking. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Are we
good.
okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just gonna stay quiet through this part.
You can see
I
it's
did
like
want to hit
sweating.
this super chat from OKD talking about a lot of us here use VPNs, which helps a lot, you know, to protect yourself for privacy or whatever. So if you're not using one of those, make sure to check that out.
Follow all local laws and rules, regulations,
Absolutely.
etc. But yeah, I use Unlimited VPN is the one I use. I'm not recommending it. It's just the one I've been using since like 2020.
Yeah, I use Nord, I think.
Yeah, a lot of people like Nord.
Nord, I use Nord. Nord is all out there. Who uses Express? Use Express?
Yeah, a lot of people do. Blue, Nord, Express, all those people like those.
Now y'all see what happened in Poland, everybody.
Did.
Pro Bitcoin presidential candidate
Poland.
Nawrocki just won the Polish election. Bitcoin taking over the world. So we got another pro Bitcoin president here. So family man looks like just going to be good news for that European nation. More and more, I think nation states are going to start adopting Bitcoin. The question is here, is it going to be public or private?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in
other.
Poland, but I've heard a lot of institutions talking about tech blowing up. Like Poland, out of all the countries in Europe, is one of the only ones to bet on right now.
Yeah, it's on the rise. What's interesting, when you're talking about Europe, the ones that were heavy socialist communists before, pendulum swinging, like Poland, swinging back the other way. A lot of the ones that were capitalists are trending towards socialism. Italy, UK, a lot of those kind of places trending down. As far as like safety goes and tourism goes, and all that
communism sounds fine.
Illegal immigration wasn't a good thing.
I was starving to death under
communism.
Then communism.
Did you see Paris last night?
Were they still celebrating the soccer win?
Yeah,
those maniacs.
Multiple people have died now. Like they're just like it's just a massive riot. Like they had a call. Like I'm like, dude, what is wrong with some cultures?
Hey, we've got somebody from Poland in the chat. Greetings.
From Poland.
I'm judging by the name, probably telling the truth there.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
I know I was talking, my Uber driver or one of them from last week was from Bulgaria, I want to say. And it's very similar, had very similar anecdotal she'd been in Vegas for about 11 years and was saying, I've been seeing it kind of trend down here and it's getting way better there. So spending as much time as she can back in Bulgaria.
It's Christoph. I heard, I don't know if this is true. Are most Polish women brunette? You'd think they're blonde. But I heard that from a friend over in Dubai. He was like, yeah, that was...
there's a little close proximity to the Balkans. There's going to be a lot of Greek DNA just because of things that happened.
Never been to Poland
2,000 years ago, but actually Roman DNA.
Roman
Greeks
DNA
owned by the Greeks. I'm sorry, Greeks got owned by the Romans. But the Greeks always had the good culture.
Speaking of, Grok says that's true. Most Polish women have brunette hair.
That was just an interesting fact. I was like, I would have. I don't know. But we have an interesting top signal displayed in the chat here today. Chat. Steve-O loves DZ's AI agents. My bad there. My Uber driver asked me about Bitcoin. Well, at least it wasn't about SafeMoon. I will never forget that day. 2021, Bitcoin Miami on the way to the conference. I get picked up. Uber driver tells me, if you want to become a millionaire, you got to go all in on SafeMoon.
I shared what my Uber driver to the airport of the Bitcoin conference was shilling, right?
This year?
Yeah.
No.
Like a week ago.
Toshi. Man,
and you know what he said? Because I like tokens with utility. It's all about utility, right?
What's Toshi do?
I think they're trying to follow the Shiba Inu roadmap, where it's like Shibarium and L2s and marketplaces and AI marketplace and NFT marketplace, and just trying to build up in their little silo.
It's not looking so hot for the Toshi community, but yeah, I mean that's always a concern when I have Uber drivers shilling me tokens. I'm like, feels a little weird, but luckily retail is not in the market right now. Let's see what else we got here.
Poles are Slavs. And who was doing the Slav trade back then? That's where the name came from. Other treasuries, though, folks, it's not just XRP. And we're going to go more into the XRP thing in the video tonight, so stick around for that. But also Solana treasury strategy. This is Solana Growth Ventures, currently trading as a class over, completes initial Solana purchase, enters a new agreement to sell even more Solana for this treasury here. And this is Class Over Holdings. Say this agreement marks a significant milestone and the strategic initiative to build a Solana-based treasury reserve. By entering this, reaffirms a strong commitment to becoming a leader in blockchain financial strategy there. So we're seeing it at XRP, we're seeing it with Bitcoin, we're seeing it with Ethereum. Now we're seeing it with Solana. So big news for altcoins, starting to look more and more like we're going to see a nice, just little alt season here. And part of it could be the AI wave. Trump's big, beautiful bill bans all 50 states from regulating AI for 10 years, centralizing control at the federal level. We've been saying the State Department wants to choose a few winners, and they're choosing those winners. They don't want a rogue AI to, teach you things that they don't want taught. And, I think we saw it with, it was about a year or two ago with, George Washington photos and kind of, altering history a little bit. So I think they want to control the narrative there.
Yeah, this was a little concerning. I mean, there's always stuff that gets packed into these bills that, they're saying, hey, look over here, we're going to print more money, meanwhile, they're stealing rights and privacy away. So to make it to where states have no say in any of the regulation of AI and it's all concentrated at the federal government level is concerning. Because obviously there's significant players. I mean, a lot of people pointing at Elon Musk and some of those types saying that this is the whole reason they got involved was to get regulation like this pushed through so that way they could have a strategic advantage in the future. I'm not saying that I necessarily believe that, but it is concerning to see things like this that say, states have no say over anything AI for 10 years.
I just like how, because I saw them too today. They're like, "Oh, Elon Musk's gonna benefit off this." I'm like, does everybody just forget that Sam Altman closed like a $500 billion deal to run all the AI servers for the federal government? Not SpaceX, not Tesla.
Yeah, OpenAI.
OpenAI. It's OpenAI. It's Worldcoin.
Yeah, more concerning.
Bullish for Worldcoin, but yeah, it's funny how
the board had a former Secretary of State, right? It's Secretary of State, or it was a high-ranking governmental position.
It was a
Larry Summers.
Larry Summers. It was Larry Summers, who's the Secretary of State, I believe, under the Clinton administration, who was responsible for Glass-Steagall, I think is the name of it, which led to the 2008 financial crisis. Great person to choose. And then he was also, I think, an advisor to Hillary Clinton under the Benghazi issues with that campaign. But I'd have to double check on that one too. A lot of weird. My
memory's been bleached on that whole, situation there.
Memory's bleached, eyesight's gone, teeth falling. Deezy, we gotta. You're just
falling apart,
adding on here today.
He knew Tate for a reason here.
500 billion.
But back to AI, there are decentralized players that are working to fight this overreaching narrative from the Fed. Tensor looks like it may be leading the way. They have a decentralized AI studio. Now coming to Crypto Taco's alma mater, university, going to UConn here. So they partnered with UConn to create BitBridge. It's a learning program focused on blockchain-based AI. So a pretty cool program there. I'm a big fan. So AI could potentially, this is bullish for Tau 3 years from now, because it's not going to be people graduating. It's going to be the college dropouts that end up making that killer debt.
Well, what are your guys? I want to know your guys' thoughts about Worldcoin. Because this week,
gonna pump. And I said, don't bet against Sam Altman. I just not gonna buy it
Time
myself.
Magazine features the orb on its cover. That's crazy. World launches in Taiwan. On-demand World ID verifications go live in Buenos Aires via Rappi, and World flagships are now open in Austin. Like, it just keeps. How do we feel?
I said a year ago, don't bet against them.
Yeah, don't bet against.
I'm just not gonna buy it.
Man, it's like, it's just, this is happening.
It's like buying Patriot Act coin. I wouldn't want to buy the Patriot Act coin. That's what this is. It's like, overreaching, censorship, surveillance, just one world government type stuff.
All I'm thinking about is the fact that Google, if you guys haven't been following the Google VO3 stuff, we're going to get scammed. We're going to get scammed. We're going to get scammed. We are. In 5 years, we're going to be scammed. Our kids are going to grow up with Google VI3, video generation, where they'll be able to literally, if they like a TV show, they can be like, hey, Google VO3, extend this episode by 4 episodes because I want to keep binge watching. It's a different reality that we're going to live in. And it breaks my mind.
Give me Star Wars, but Luke had a Pikachu with him.
But Luke isn't gay.
Luke's based, okay? Did you want him to make out with his sister, you weirdo?
Yeah, make him not.
Is that what you wanted?
Cut out the... Well, no, but seriously, it's like
his browser history. You saw his VO search.
Makes me bullish on Worldcoin, low-key. And it's unfortunate to say that the orb is actually man, I should have read that comment.
Yeah, man.
That was the wrong comment to read there.
Get you there.
Man, oh man, Disney just fired 10% of their workforce to use Google VO instead. I was talking to one of the largest producers, one of the largest studio producers, multi-billion-dollar production studio out of Atlanta, almost a year ago, and they had a $1.2 billion expansion or something that they were looking to expand new studio application. But because of ChatGPT and they knew VO3 was launching, they said they're going to hold off because by the time the expansion was done, they'd have to fire the entire workflow and staff anyways because they wouldn't need it due to the scalability of this video content. And that's when I was like, that blew my mind. I still think there's going to be a ChatGPT moment again with AI within the next 6 months.
I think Tyler Perry canceled a $500 million studio.
Maybe that's what it was.
For AI,
Yeah.
as well. He
It was
loves
Tyler
wearing
Perry Studios.
dresses.
That's who we were
and
talking
hanging
to.
out with Oprah.
It was dude.
I got stories about Tyler Perry. A buddy of mine, his cousins went to his church, and allegations probably true. Now, speaking of allegations, there's Cardano allegations out there. This is, I would say, maybe one of the most bullish events that's ever happened since smart contracts were introduced in Q3 2021. Just in, and this is off of space here, Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano, co-founder of Ethereum. I'm going to be on a major podcast next month, probably the biggest podcast. I'm flying to go film. It's going to be exciting. I've been looking forward to being on this podcast for a while. Will it be Joe Rogan, everybody? Is he going to inhale, Josh?
Is he going to inhale? Oh, he'll definitely inhale. Dude, Charles would just drop ayahuasca with Joe Rogan.
TJ,
He's
we're
a
just talking about this.
savage,
He
bro.
has a lot of stuff to bring up. He, searched for alien artifacts in the ocean. He is trying to bring back a woolly mammoth. He just did the
dire
biting
wolves.
ants, the stinger ants. Yeah, trying to bring back extinct species here.
He's huge into like the Wim Hof health issues. But then I think he's also going to talk about like just the complexities of, they can have a deep conversation.
Longevity research, bringing back dead ancient species,
privacy, talking
aliens,
about probably like the I'd say human data is going to be a conversation.
Hunting. I mean, I think this might be like one of those 3-hour. And Charles Hoskinson's pod on Lex Friedman, I think, might have the record for longest pod on Lex Friedman, or it's like a top 5. This could be like a 3.5-hour podcast easily.
There's no way it's not.
It would make a very interesting conversation. They could talk about governance. They could talk about macroeconomics. They could, him helping the people in the hurricane in North Carolina with the helicopter. I mean, there's so much.
I forgot about that too.
Yeah, there'd be a lot. It definitely, because we were comparing it
up. It is the largest podcast.
Okay, we were comparing it to Michael Saylor being on there, and there was rumors about that. I think they'd both be great. I'd love to see both of them on there. I just think that if Joe Rogan's thinking about what type of conversation could I have that would be interesting to my audience that's not just crypto, I think Charles could, he could definitely cover Bitcoin and crypto very well.
Yeah, Michael Saylor wouldn't shut the heck up about Bitcoin. Vitalik is just going to sound too nerdy for the general audience. As far as other founders, Anatoly, not really super exciting. I mean,
you got Charles also, he does he's good at speaking.
I mean, you do Justin Sun with the duct tape banana, but that's going to get scary vibes to some people probably.
No, Charles would be great. I'd love to see that.
It could be Lex Friedman again.
Yeah.
I mean, valid.
Let's go back to the quote here.
It's probably the biggest.
Probably the biggest podcast. I don't think you say that about Lex Friedman. I think you only say that about Joe Rogan.
The only one I think
maybe it's Harry Styles and Meghan Markle's or whatever.
What else is that big?
Nothing.
You have he wanted to do a comedy show.
I keep saying I don't know.
I mean, that's a comedy show, but he not Theo Vaughn. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, chat, let us know. What else we got here though?
That's it right there.
Some Cardano for my wife's boyfriend. What a sweetheart you are, man.
Well, we did have this story. Did you have this Vitalik's prediction? Did we hit that story? The 10x?
The 10x it.
Oh yeah. Let me find that. No, but I'll give you one.
While you're pulling that up, we did have somebody earlier in the chat. I did see your comment asking about an updated on the M2. Because we did have, obviously M2 still climbing. We showed that debt at the top of the stream here. So we've got the update. This is from Colin Talks Crypto. We bring it up on the stream all the time. Great account to go follow. This looks like it was updated. I think May 30th is when this was posted. Where's the date here? Yeah, or June 2nd. So it looks very, very updated. And we look like we're pulling. If we continue following, I believe this is with the roughly 87-day offset. We're due for a massive leg up. If we've been following this thing. Obviously not perfectly here. Here's where the M2 went up and it didn't immediately follow that uptrend. It, kind of caught it over here and then it went down a lot and it offset, didn't drop as much, but very closely correlated, generally speaking. And so with this next move up here, and as we just showed, I mean, we've continued to tick up here at the top of this thing. We could. I really do think it could be that easy. I keep saying this, like if you just keep following this chart, this will give you a good idea of the general macro trend. The trend is your friend. This is why I'm just looking for dips to long. You can definitely make money shorting tops, but generally speaking, right now in this phase of the cycle, we are moving up, and I like to long into the trend. And then when the whole when all of this is trending back down, you can short into that pretty easily. But yeah, I think the rest of this month will be bullish. I'll be interested to see if ECB cuts on Thursday. That's another good sign for the money supply and where things are going. But yeah, it's looking positive.
The stolen valor thing. He didn't say he was like in the special forces. I think he said he did something. I think he did some weird stuff. I think at the high level, a lot of these blockchain founders.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are you talking about?
And there's, it's a Steve-O comment there. I guess stolen valor is okay with some people. I think a lot of people were approached by the NSA about 10 years ago. I think Vitalik was. I think the Bitcoin court was 100%.
He probably works for the government.
Hoskinson, and he did a little like what an average 23-year-old kid would do. Like, yeah, I may have worked with them a little bit, and it's in Tiffany Fong's book, which a lot of people have said they've had issues with some of the quotes there. So I don't think he did a stolen valor situation personally there. But find me the quote. Maybe you can correct me. Vitalik did say ETH can 10x. He was talking about the network, though. Everybody projects 10x Ethereum layer 1 scaling within a year, and this was ETH Global. And he said the pragmatic roadmap for L1 scaling, predicting the base layer could expand by 10x over the next 12 months, over the next year. He also went further to suggest a possible hard fork, not a new chain, but a protocol level adjustment. He said once ZK EVMs, this is zero knowledge, Ethereum virtual machines, really become mature that we can rely on them, then they go even beyond that. So he's very, very bullish on the settlement layer and just the tech of Ethereum itself.
He's gonna have a comeback, dude. What I'd be bearish on, and not necessarily bearish on because it still should scale those, but is layer 2s, because the mentality shifted. Tired of being the ones that like they want the data to stay on chain now, want the transactions to happen on chain now. So it's like if you're not blockchain agnostic, yeah, I'd be pretty cautious moving into 2026, 2027. But there's still a lot of upside. And L2s are going to still need it to be scaled pretty massively. We have one of the probably the greatest interview I've ever done. We'll be dropping this weekend. And for anybody that holds any Web3 gaming token, if you want to listen to the guy that literally developed the technology for blockchain, crypto, for stable coins, for that settlement process system within like Epic Games, within Call of Duty, within like what will probably be in GTA 6. We talk about GTA 6 in this. There's a lot of information that comes out to that, and like understanding what is needed to scale for things like Web3 games and those transaction data points. So that will be hopefully dropping this weekend. But man, I mean, it is one of the craziest, most informative, most educational interviews I've ever had. And the guy's an absolute G there. And between him and his wife's the co-founder of she's the founder of Liquid IV. You see that in the all the grocery stores. But he himself, he took on Apple and won with the Privacy Act or whatever it was in 2023. So insane interview that will be dropping this weekend. And yeah, I mean, DZ, what are you working on today?
XRP, hit those likes. Make sure you're hitting that notification. XRP video coming to you tonight.
Ooh.
That's all I got.
And we got a good comment here. I don't think crypto will be GTA 6. Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. We got all the information in that video, and it will shock you, brother. It will shock you. So stay tuned for that.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.